The moment she walked into the family living room, clutching her stomach, everyone froze. Eyes widened. Mouths dropped. No one spoke at first. Then her mother gasped and staggered backward, almost tripping over the edge of the rug. "This can't be," she whispered, voice trembling. And then the truth hit the room like a lightning bolt. Both of them, mother and daughter, were pregnant. By the same man. Everyone's mind scrambled to make sense of it. Shock, disbelief, anger, confusion, and a strange, unexplainable fear twisted together in the air. How had this happened? Why did it happen? And more importantly, what would they do now? Before we dive deeper, take a moment to subscribe to Kindness Teles for more heartfelt stories about human connection and compassion. Like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and join the conversation about kindness in the world. It really helps our community grow. It all began in a quiet suburban town in New Jersey, where life seemed ordinary at first glance. The daughter was 25, a vibrant woman who worked at a small design firm downtown. She had always been independent, cheerful, and full of dreams. Her mother, on the other hand, was in her late 40s, a strong woman who had raised her daughter alone after her husband passed away. Their bond was close but complicated, filled with unspoken tensions and years of shared struggles. The man in question was the kind of millionaire who didn't exactly fit the mold of charm or conventional attractiveness. He was blunt, rough around the edges, and admittedly, not easy to look at. He had made his fortune through real estate investments and a few tech ventures that turned out to be wildly successful. Most people would describe him as unusual, but he had a way of making people feel seen in his own strange, awkward way. He was the kind of person who would quietly show up with groceries when someone was sick or help fix a neighbor's leaking roof without a word. Acts of kindness were part of who he was, even if his appearance made people dismiss him. The daughter met him at a local charity auction where he was donating an enormous sum for a new community center. She had been volunteering that night, helping with decorations and check-ins, and they struck up a conversation about art, travel, and their shared love for dogs. What began as casual friendliness quickly developed into late-night texts, shared lunches, and an odd comfort she couldn't explain. He was sincere, grounded, and unexpectedly gentle. She found herself drawn to his authenticity, and eventually, their friendship turned into something deeper. Meanwhile, the mother had her own encounters with him through business circles and local philanthropic events. She had initially been cautious, skeptical even, about his intentions. He was persistent in his kindness, sending flowers when her office burned down, helping her renovate a rundown clinic in town, offering financial advice, but he never pressured her or demanded anything in return. Over time, a complicated bond grew, one built on admiration, gratitude, and a subtle, unspoken longing for affection that she had missed in her own life. The situation escalated almost imperceptibly. The daughter found out she was pregnant first. She tried to process it in private, feeling a mix of fear and anticipation. Telling her mother seemed impossible at first. How could she explain that the man they both respected and cared about had somehow woven himself into both their lives in such an unimaginable way? Before she could even find the right moment, her mother herself discovered she was expecting. The news was as surreal as it was shocking. Their private joys became entangled with confusion and dread. Family gatherings became tense and awkward. Cousins, aunts, and uncles noticed the mother's growing belly before the daughter's. Rumors started to circulate, and whispers became louder as the family pieced together fragments of conversations and sightings of the man visiting both households. The daughter often sat quietly in the corner during dinners, her mind racing with questions and fears. The mother struggled with guilt and shame, feeling the weight of judgment from her own daughter and the extended family. Yet both of them found themselves incapable of turning away from him, drawn to the kindness and generosity that seemed to radiate from his actions, even if his appearance made society scoff. The man remained calm, almost bewildered by the storm he had unintentionally caused. He hadn't set out to create chaos or hurt anyone. To him, this was about human connection, about giving and sharing love in whatever form it manifested. He visited both mother and daughter with equal care, bringing home-cooked meals, offering advice, and sometimes just sitting quietly, listening. In those quiet moments, all the tension faded, and what remained was the undeniable thread of compassion that tied them together. Neighbors and friends were puzzled. Some were judgmental, others simply confused, but everyone agreed it was a situation unlike any they had ever witnessed. The mother and daughter, despite their initial discomfort, began to lean on each other in ways they hadn't before. They shared their fears, their hopes, and even laughter in small, stolen moments. They talked about the future, about the children growing inside them, and about the kind of people they wanted those children to become. In those conversations, a strange sense of solidarity emerged. They were not victims of circumstance, they were people choosing love, kindness, and patience in a world that often ridiculed the unusual. The man, for his part, acted with humility. He never flaunted his wealth, never used it to manipulate, and never tried to assert control. Instead, he focused on what mattered most: emotional support, financial stability, and, above all, kindness. He paid for prenatal care, ensured both women had comfortable living arrangements, and took care of small, thoughtful details that made life easier. He taught them, through actions more than words, that love isn't always conventional or neat. Sometimes, love is messy, unexpected, and astonishingly beautiful. Tensions in the family slowly shifted from anger to understanding. Conversations that once crackled with judgment softened into curiosity and eventual acceptance. Family members began to notice the genuine happiness radiating from both mother and daughter. They saw the children's health and well-being prioritized, the laughter that echoed through the house, and the unusual but steadfast support network that the millionaire had created. People realized that while appearances matter to some, the heart of human connection is what truly shapes lives. There were moments of heartbreak along the way. The mother feared judgment from society and from her own friends. The daughter struggled with insecurity, wondering if she was loved for herself or for the child she carried. Nights were sleepless, hearts were heavy, and tears were shed silently. But through each challenge, acts of kindness and patience bound them together. The man never forced answers, never demanded gratitude. He simply showed up, and in doing so, taught them that kindness is often more powerful than fear. As months passed, the pregnancies progressed, and the family slowly came to terms with the extraordinary situation. Preparations for the babies brought joy, cooperation, and shared excitement. Baby clothes were bought, rooms were decorated, and the town, once skeptical, began to embrace the unusual story with warmth. The mother and daughter found strength in each other's company, their bond deepening in ways that had seemed impossible before. Laughter returned to the household, and with it, a sense of peace. When the day finally came, both mother and daughter gave birth within weeks of each other. The hospital was filled with nurses shaking their heads in disbelief, families whispering in awe, and the man moving quietly between rooms, offering comfort, support, and genuine love. He held the newborns with a tenderness that left everyone speechless. In that moment, all judgments, all confusions, all fears melted away. What remained was pure, unadulterated joy, the kind that only kindness, patience, and human connection can create. Years later, the story became a legend in their small town, not because of scandal, but because of how they chose to respond with compassion and grace. The mother and daughter grew even closer, raising their children with love and understanding. The millionaire, often called ugly in passing, became a symbol of how kindness can overshadow appearances and transform lives. Their home became a sanctuary, not just for their immediate family, but for anyone in need of warmth, acceptance, and love. The lasting impact of this story is profound. It reminds us that human connection isn't about perfection, beauty, or societal approval. It's about showing up for each other, offering care without conditions, and embracing the unexpected with open hearts. Kindness has a ripple effect. One act can change lives, heal wounds, and create bonds that last a lifetime. In a world that often rushes to judge, sometimes the bravest choice is simply to love fully, to support openly, and to believe in the power of compassion. When we act with kindness, even in the most unconventional situations, we teach those around us the extraordinary value of empathy. Share your own stories of kindness in the comments, because every act matters, every gesture counts, and every heart touched has the power to inspire a brighter, more connected world.